Hey everybody, Todd McFarlane here, just making an announcement. I'm going to be doing another CGC signing.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
I'm going to be doing 2 labels. One of them is going to be a Spawn Universe.
Excellent!
And then the other one that I'm going to draw right now is based on the very first scroll I ever did. I'm going to cut down the number of books I signed by like 2/3. I'm getting old. There's going to be a cutoff point, and then if you don't get in, you're not going to be able to get past that.
Let me in! Let me in!
So look for details, and I hope to sign your book at some point. One last thing, everybody's going to get a full Todd McFarlane signature. All right, be good.
Hey, what's happening guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mr. Archive. The news we've finally been waiting for is here. Todd McFarlane is finally back at CGC doing an in-house signing after almost 3 years, guys. Can you believe it? So a lot of you have been asking me how to submit to CGC in general. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I prep my books for a CGC submission for an in-house signing, and hopefully that will give you some insight as to how to prepare your books, and hopefully you'll be sending some books in for this McFarlane signing, alright? So to prepare your books for a CGC in-house signing or for a signing in general, you'll need to put your books into a window bag, alright? Now there are 2 ways you can do this. You can either purchase a window bag online, or you can make your own window bag, which I'm going to show you in this video today, alright? So the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a flat surface to prepare your window bag on. You'll also need a measuring board or cutting mat. So this is a cutting mat that I use, alright? You'll need a Silver Age bag and board, well, a couple of boards actually. So I already have my book that I'm going to be sending in. So this is ASM 299. This is a Mark Jewelers variant as well, guys, which I'm super hyped to get McFarlane to sign. So this is a Silver Age bag and board. I've got 2 backing boards in there, but I suggest using 3 backing boards for what we're going to do today to prepare the window bag, alright? You're going to need painter's tape. So this is painter's tape here. So masking tape for us Brits, we normally call it that, or painter's tape. You'll need a ruler, and I'll explain and show that a little bit later on down into the video. You'll need a Stanley knife or a hobby knife. So here's one that I have. Sometimes you can get them slightly bigger, but I have one here that's a little bit smaller and a little bit more easier to use. All right. And you'll also need a Golden Age bag and board. All right. So this Golden Age bag and board will be used in order to put your actual Silver Age bag and board with your book into, all right, once you've made the window bag. So the first thing you need to do is to decide exactly where on the book you want to place the signature, okay? Now, I usually take a look at other books already signed by Todd, and then I compare them with the book that I'm submitting. Now, that helps me get a sense of the space needed and the ideal placement that I would like, all right? So I've decided on this book, because there's just so much going on, right? It's such an amazing cover. There's so much detail going on, and there's not a lot of blank space really on the book. So I've decided to try and go for the area where there's the most dark space, right? Which I believe is down the bottom of the book. So I want McFarlane to sign in this area, okay? Color wise, I think I'm maybe going to ask him to sign in maybe white or silver. I think that will just kind of stand out more in this darker area, okay? Now, once you've decided, keep your book inside the bag and board, and then what you want to do is take your painter's tape and you want to create the window in the space, all right? So we're going to do this in real time. I'm not going to use this, obviously. I've already got tape here, all right? So I like to kind of get a sense of space, okay? So I normally take my ruler and just be like, right, okay, where am I going to apply the tape, okay? So let's take some tape off. I think this might be big enough. It might be too big, but that doesn't matter if it's coming off on the edge, all right? We can deal with that after the fact. All right, so let me just give him enough space. So you want to make sure as well that the artist has enough space. That's one thing that can cause a problem, okay? So space is important for them. All right, so I think that's a good place to put that bit. Let's get the other bit. All right, so that looks to be enough space for him to get in there, I reckon. Cool, and then let's do the other bits on the sides. Oh, that's too small. Right, let's do a big bit. All right. Let's do that there. Cool, and then we'll do another bit on this far side. Right. So there we have it. So I've created my window. That's all in there now. So now that I'm happy with that, what I'm gonna do is I've got some obviously extra bit here, so I'm just gonna fold this over on this side. Okay, so that's pretty solid. So now what I'm gonna do is remove the book out. Put my book somewhere safe. Let me just put it down here. All right, so now what we're gonna do is move on to cutting the window. So now you've got your outline here. Okay, what you want to do is carefully cut out the center section in here. Okay, so you might need to run the knife around the edges a few times. So I've got a ruler here that I'm going to be using as my edge to make sure that I stay straight and cut as well. Right now, you want to make sure that once you've cut the inner section out, that you check for any fraying, especially when you're using a Mylar bag. Right, so this is a Mylar bag, and they're a little bit more thicker, and so what can happen is when you're cutting around the edges, you might leave a few fraying edges and they'll be sharp and they could scratch your comic. All right, so let's have a little go at it. Children, do not do this. Make sure you have an adult to supervise you. Okay, so I'm gonna, right, so there you go. So we've got that bit out. So like I said, look, you want to check for fraying. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see that on camera. Let's try and get it a bit closer. There's a little bit that's fraying off here. So you want to make sure that any fraying isn't around on the inside. Now you can normally check this by just taking the bag and board, sorry, the board out of the bag, and then you can see whether or not there's any fraying as well, right? And just check it that way. But I think this is good. There is a little bit on this edge here, but for the purposes of this video, we're not going to go into that detail. But of course, like I said, you just want to make sure that if there is any fraying, that you take care of that. All right. But once your book's in there, you shouldn't really need to remove it. All right. So let's get the comic and put it back in. And do this very, very carefully, guys, all right? Because obviously there's an open section in the bag. So you just want to make sure that you take your time, slide the book in very carefully, all right? There we go. So there we have it. We've got our space here for Todd to sign. So that looks to be good enough for me, I reckon. He's got enough space there. So he should be good. And then what we're then going to do is pop it into the Golden Age bag and board that I was showing you earlier. And then we are going to tape that down. And there we have it. One window bag complete, guys. I've already said that I would prefer it if Todd would sign in silver or in white in this area, right? So what you then want to make sure that you're doing on this painter's tape here is just writing your message or your request as to what you would want the signing color to be, right? So you can simply just drop that in there, right? I'll just write, hey Todd, please sign in silver. Yeah. All right, so now that your window bag is complete, your book is literally ready for the signing. Now when the signing happens, the book will be removed out of this golden Golden Age bag and board, and then it'll be ready, right? So McFarlane or CGC are not going to have to take the book out of this bag and board. It'll literally be ready for him to just take a pen and just sign, and then that's it. And then it's done. It'll be left to dry, and then they'll carefully put it back into this Golden Age bag and board, and then it'll be ready for grading. All right, guys, so let's talk about the actual submission process to CGC. So basically, you'll need either a free account or a paid account. Now, if you plan on submitting multiple times throughout the year to CGC, it's definitely worthwhile getting a paid account. I personally have a premium account, which gives you 10% off of the cost of grading, and you also get £120 back in credit as well. All right. So for the purpose of this video, I'm using my own account, which is a paid account. So now that you've decided what membership you're going for, whether free or paid, you'll want to make sure you're logged in, and then you'll need to go to submit and then to submission forms. Okay, so this is your my submission section. So here you can track the status of anything you send in to CGC, and this is also where you can choose the online form for your submission of your comic. All right, so you want to choose the Comics, Magazine and Pulps online form, and then once you've chosen that, you can also see as well your completed orders from the past, and then you want to click on start new order. Okay, so now we're here, we're going to start a new order, and we're going to choose the collectible type. So we're sending in a comic, and then we are sending in for the CGC signature series, and then we're choosing the CGC in-house private signing. All right, so we have two options here in the UK. We've got Peach Momoko and Todd McFarlane, so we're doing Todd McFarlane for this one, and we are doing authentication and grading. All right, so there is an online waiver form that you have to read through. If you've never seen this before, I suggest you reading through it. It just basically gives you a few disclaimers about some of the things that can happen to some of your books if you send them in. All right, so it's all at your own risk. Obviously, sending in a book that's already got a signature on it, once it's removed out of encapsulation, the signature could be degraded for whatever reason, as in the paint pen might lift off when removed from a holder. You know, there's a whole other little selection of things that they advise you about. Okay, so take your time, read through this, and if you're happy with everything that they're letting you, making you aware of, then, you know, click agree and move on to the next step. All right, so you can also choose pressing if you are not pressing your book beforehand. I would suggest you using pressing if you're not pressing your book beforehand. I do know that some people tend to also opt for the pressing anyway afterward, because obviously there is handling that goes on with your book during the signing, and sometimes that could potentially undo any pressing that you may have already done on the book beforehand. All right, so that's entirely up to you as an option. For this purposes of this video, I'm not going to choose pressing. And here you go, it's already chosen in-house private signing, and it's made us aware of the cost per comic as well. And then you can do add-ons as well, right? So let's say, for example, the book already has a signature on it, and you want to verify that signature. You can do that through JSA on top of the in-house private signing as well, right? But for this book, we don't have any signatures on it. And there you go. Once you've done all of that, you then want to add comic. Right, so now we're at the process of adding the comic. So I'm going to type in the book I'm sending in. So this is going to be Amazing Spider-Man 299. And you want to make sure you choose the right one. There's loads of different variants and versions and things like that. Obviously, the one I'm sending in is a newsstand, and it is a Mark Jewelers. So I could click on Can't Find My Comic. Excuse me, which I'm going to do actually, just to show you how that works. So the quantity is 1. We're going to go for Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel Comics, issue 299 is the issue. The year is 1988, I believe, or 85. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's 85. Let's go back and just check what it says here, because that's what I generally tend to do as well if I can't remember the year. So it's 1988, right? So we'll do that again. We'll make sure we put 1988 this time so we don't forget. All right, and it was May, wasn't it? Okay, So we're going to put newsstand. It is a Mark Jewelers, but CGC will obviously pick that up anyway. But for the purposes of the submission, I just want to make sure that I am noting down what the book is as accurately as possible, right? Now, there is an option for declared value. So this is a Mark Jewelers variant. I'm estimating that once McFarlane signed it and the grade that I think it's going to be, it'll probably be worth about £1,000. So I'm going to just say that as an estimate. So if you click on the little question mark here, it does give an explanation on that. It just says your best estimate of the current fair market value of the collectible. So yeah, I'm guessing that it's going to be worth £1,000 once McFarlane signs it. I think it's probably about an 8.5 to a 9.0. So that's my estimation of it. So once you've filled all of that in, there are other options further down as well. So you can choose to grade the autograph as well if you want to. So there you go. There's a little bit of an explanation about that. And the grade label will actually be printed on front of the actual CGC label on the slab as well. For this video as well, I'm going to do a custom label, right? So I want Black Suit Spider-Man. And then there you go. You can see that that's how the label's going to turn out once it's all done, right? So I'm happy with all of those bits and pieces. All of that information is correct. So I'm now going to add comic as well, right? So there you go. Once you scroll down, you can see all the details about everything that you've entered. The requested signatures is McFarlane and a custom label, all right? So the custom labels, I think they're slightly discounted at the moment. So there you have it, it's £4. There is a handling fee per tier when you send your book in as well. So just bear that in mind. And shipping will be determined further down the line, all right? So I'm going to add one more book as well. So I'm going to send in an ASM 300 as well, which I already have slabbed up, but I'm going to have it cracked out by my cleaner and presser. So I'm estimating that the value of the book will be, I don't know, let's say £1,000 anyway, and see if they bump it up or not, because it's already a 9.6, but we'll see. So yeah, we're going to go for custom label. I definitely want to have the Venom label on it because it is, by CGC's rights, they call it the first appearance Venom, full appearance. So we're going to do that. So there's the label, and then we're going to add comic. And then we should have 2. So there you have it. So it's totaled up both comics, declared values and quantities, and the description of what it is that you're sending in, and the requested signature as well. So there we have it. Handling's done in one tier. So if you were to submit a separate tier, say it was a Silver Age book, it will be in another tier, but we'll cover that in another video another time. So there you have it. So we're going to now review the cart. And here we have it. So that's our totals. Our subtotals is there, and we're now going to choose the shipping method. Okay. So you want to make sure that all your shipping details are correct. If you need to update your shipping address, you can do so by clicking here. So we're going to scroll down. All of my information is obviously blanked out, obviously, guys. And then how should we send your order back to you? So ship with CGC, and then you can choose to either pick up at the CGC office in the UK. So that will save you some money when it's coming back, or you can do return shipping. So you can have the CGC UK office ship it back to your home address for a fee as well, right? So for the purposes of this video, we're going to choose to pick up at headquarters. And like it says here, you need to call and make an appointment, all right? So as soon as your book is on its way back, you can just give them a call and then arrange a time to pick it up, and then you can go and do that, all right? So now we're going to confirm order details. All right, so there's all my contact information, which you guys can't see, of course, but it is in this section here. What we're sending in for, so the CGC in-house private signing for Todd McFarlane signature, and here we have the total cost of everything. So we've got the 2 books that we're sending in for signature. That also includes grading as well. We then have the cost for 2 custom labels at £4 each, and then the handling at 13, and then I'm picking up from the CGC headquarters, so there's no charge for shipping back. All right, so there you have it. That's the order total, and the membership credits are not reflected on the submission form. All right, so if you are sending in for the first time and you've signed up and you know you're going to get £120 worth of credits back, you need to notate that on the packing slip. All right, so the packing slip is literally produced as soon as you submit here at the bottom, which I'm not going to do right now because I'm not ready to do it just yet. But once your packing slip is printed out, you'll then be able to notate on that whether you want the credits to apply on the submission that you're sending in. All right, so you obviously need to make sure that you check all the waivers and all of the other terms and conditions, and then once you're happy with that, you'll then submit. And then once you've then submit, just to reiterate, you'll then receive an email, and that email will have your packing slip. All right, you will also be able to download your packing slip once you pass the submit stage here. Okay, and then that packing slip is what you will use to pack your comics and send them to the CGC office. Now, normally when you're sending books into CGC in the UK, there's normally an option to arrange drop-off, and you would give them a call. So I don't know what the situation is this time around, but there is the telephone number that you've seen in this video. So if you have any questions about, you know, whether or not you are local to the office and you want to drop off your submission for the sign-in, to request if you can do that. So once you've got your packing slip printed, you want to make sure that you put your packing slip into your comic mailer that you're going to be sending into CGC. All right, you also want to make sure that you follow the instructions. As you can see here, CGC will not accept your submission if it is not marked TM across the box or the mailer. All right, so you need to make sure that you indicate that it is for the Todd McFarlane signing by marking TM on the mailer when you send it in. Okay guys, so once you've printed off your packing slip, this will be going into your cardboard mailer with your books. Now, one of the most important things you need to be aware of is that your books need to be packed inside your mailer in the order that they appear on the packing slip, not how you enter them on the CGC website. All right, that is very, very important. So I normally start with the last book first, and then I finish up with the first book in the order on the packing slip last, and then I tape down together using masking tape, and then I normally sandwich between two pieces of cardboard. All right, but if you don't have two pieces of cardboard, don't worry, you can use a backing board or a couple backing boards and do the same thing that I'm doing here. All right, so I normally tape each sides, top and bottom as well, and then once I've done that, I then stick the packing slip on top of the books like so, and then I tape all the books down inside the mailer across all corners to keep it secure and stop it from moving, and then I then mark my mailer with TM across it. CGC will also accept a book that is already encapsulated for the signing as well, right? So you can send it to them already graded, they will crack it open themselves, and then obviously present it for the sign-in. They will charge you extra for that. However, I would rather trust myself to crack open my own book, or send it to someone that I trust to crack it open, which is normally going to be my cleaner impressor. All right. So if you are confident enough to crack open your own book and prepare it for the sign-in, then you can go ahead and do that. However, I will be sending it to my cleaner impressor like this, for example, not this particular book, because obviously you can see he's already signed it. He signed it on the slab. But when I send my ASM 300, I'm going to send it already in the slab. So for that purpose, I'm going to want to create a window bag for that book, because obviously placement wise, I want the signature to be in a certain place, right? So I would follow the same process. However, what I would do this time is just get a blank bag. This one's already pre-prepared already, of course, but I would follow the same process. All right, but in order to kind of make sure that I'm getting this as accurate as possible, I then just take some painter's tape and tape down the bag to the top of the slab, just to kind of make sure that the bag is in a certain place. and then wherever I want the signature to be is where I would place the painter's tape. And then obviously once I'm happy with where I've placed the painter's tape, I then remove the bag off of the slab. I would not cut it on the slab, obviously, guys, all right? And then once I'm happy with that, I would follow the same process as what I showed earlier, in just cutting out that window space. And then I would send the bag, or the window bag, which has already been prepped, to my cleaner and presser, so that once they've cracked the book, cleaned it and pressed it, they'll then throw it into the window bag and board that I prepared. So that's how I prepare for a CGC in-house signing. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe, and also drop a comment and let me know what you're sending in for the McFarlane signing. All right, I'd love to know what you guys are sending in. All right, guys, well, I'm Mr. Archive. Thanks very much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.